This is a presentation on global warming by Amy Fiebiger. Let's begin by looking at some of the arguments that support global warming. First, scientists are seeing a huge spike in the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This gas is a greenhouse gas and helps produce the greenhouse effect on Earth. In this process, the Earth absorbs radiation and re-emits some of it back out to space. However, the greenhouse gases act as a blanket and trap some of the radiation. This then causes the Earth to warm. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, CO2 had a concentration of 280 parts per million before the start of the Industrial Revolution, while current levels are at 380 parts per million. Estimates from NOAA indicate that by the year 2100, CO2 levels could reach 1,260 parts per million. All of this CO2 in the atmosphere is enhancing the greenhouse effect and is causing the Earth to warm, as shown in the figure. According to the US EPA, the global temperature of the Earth has risen by 0.13 degrees Fahrenheit every decade since 1901. This rise in temperature has led to 7 of the 10 warmest years in the United States taking place since the year 1990. NOAA has also collected data that indicate the Earth has warmed 0.7 degrees Celsius since the late 1800s. Another major piece of data that coincides with the rise in CO2 concentrations is the rise in sea surface temperature. On average, between 1901 and 2009, the ocean temperature has risen 0.12 degrees Fahrenheit every decade. However, in the last 30 years, ocean temperature has risen 0.21 degrees Fahrenheit every decade. All of these rises in ocean and global temperatures are in line with the rises in CO2 concentrations. These correlations are why many believe that humans are the reason that the Earth is warming. The rising temperatures then end up changing the global environment in many ways. First, we are starting to see a rise in sea levels around the globe as shown in the figure. According to the EPA, the oceans have risen 0.06 inches every year since 1870. Then, in 1990, this rate of sea level rise increased to 0.12 inches every year. National Geographic predicts that sea level will rise by as much as 23 inches by the year 2100. This will put low-lying areas such as New Orleans and Miami at a great risk of flooding and even disappearance. This rise in sea level is caused by a number of things. First, water expands as it gets warmer, so as the ocean temperature rises, the more expansion will occur. However, the cause we hear most about is the melting of glaciers and sea ice due to the rising global temperatures. Another major environmental effect of the rising temperatures around the globe is changes in climate such as drought and heat waves. According to the EPA, between 2000 and 2009, the U.S. experienced a drought across 60% of the country. Along with the droughts, heat waves are becoming longer and more intense. For example, this summer many parts of the country experienced record-setting temperatures for weeks at a time. These heat waves and droughts put people as well as crops and livestock in danger. On the flip side come floods and intense hurricanes. Since 1990, 8 of the 10 most extreme rainfall events in the United States have occurred, leading to huge floods across the country. Scientists also believe that hurricane intensity is increasing, as shown in the figure. Hurricanes receive their strength from traveling over warm water, and as waters warm due to global warming, the hurricanes will intensify. In fact, hurricane intensity has increased over the last 20 years, and 6 of the 10 most active seasons have occurred since the mid-1990s. A specific example of this intensity is Hurricane Katrina in 2005, a Category 5 hurricane that nearly wiped out New Orleans, Louisiana. The last major environmental impact of global warming is the new species that are facing extinction. For example, as temperatures rise and the ice caps continue to melt, polar bears are slowly losing their habitat and dying off. The increased carbon dioxide in the air is also making the ocean more acidic, which is starting to kill off many coral reefs. These environmental effects caused by global warming then lead to many economic effects that countries and people are now starting to face. With rising temperatures, many people are using more energy in order to keep their homes and workplaces at a comfortable temperature. Due to this increase in demand, energy is starting to cost a person more, which hurts them financially. Another aspect of rising energy costs is the fact that oil refineries out at sea can be harmed and shut down because of the increase in the intensity of hurricanes. This effect on oil refineries raises oil prices and gas prices. The rising heat also hurts the agricultural sector in many areas. The heat and drought kill crops and significantly decrease the yield of the crops. This hurts both farmers as they build their livelihood around having good crops, as well as average citizens as demand for crops rises and prices soar because of it. One last economic impact of global warming is on the insurance sector. First, rising temperatures lead to increases in diseases due to the heat, lower air quality, and higher amounts of insects. All of these increases will put a greater demand on the healthcare system, which will raise health insurance costs. Then, with more floods, more properties are being classified as in a floodplain, which increases their insurance. With all of these economic and environmental impacts of global warming, many solutions are being proposed by politicians and citizens. First, there is the Cap and Trade initiative. This idea would allow the government to control the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that companies are putting into the atmosphere by selling them emission vouchers. Each company could not exceed their allotted amount of emissions, but they could buy vouchers from other companies. This way, the government can start lowering greenhouse gas emissions each year, which will hopefully start decreasing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere over time. Another proposed solution is to invest in clean energy instead of relying on fossil fuels. Some of these clean energies include nuclear power, wind power, which is prominent in California, and solar power, which we see a lot of in Arizona. Lastly, there is a solution that everyone can take part in, and that is being more energy efficient. These steps include driving a hybrid car, buying energy-efficient electronics, and even turning off lights when leaving a room. In the end, global warming is a huge issue facing the world today, and everybody should do their part in trying to solve the problem.